Yeah. Hi, everyone. uh, Played around a bit with my setup this morning, so forgot to add myself back. Hi, I am your host, Yulia. And as you can see today, we are going to talk about, well, mostly Vue, and then talk about Node-RED, because I'm currently working on rebuilding our Node-RED package that is for the Vonage node in Node-RED, and I thought I would take you all with me on that journey. We have a beautiful day here in the UK, which I can't believe. Actually, couldn't figure out my lighting exactly because I'm so used to streaming in pitch dark. Um, yeah, this sunlight was a surprise. Right. So let's start with what I had in mind. Also, feel free to let me know if you have any comments, questions at any given point. So if you haven't yet seen Node-RED, it is low-code programming for event-driven applications. You could have seen me build a couple of flows on this stream before. We have a package for our Vonage APIs. That is everything that is currently generally available. The only issue is that currently we have it under the name Nexmo, and as part of the rebrand effort, we are taking care of that now. And while doing that, my colleague also came up with the idea that it would be nice to split the one package up in multiple packages, one per product, because we have more and more products available, and as a result of the acquisitions, more and more will be available. So the Node-RED palette started to become a little crowded. Node-RED palette being this left-hand side. Now I have open clean install of Node-RED. So I don't have any Nextman or no Vonage nodes in there. But we will install them locally while developing them. Actually, I think I have an hosted version just to show you the before, and then we'll be working on the after. So the previous package looked mostly like this. So green would have been voice API related, this pink, purple, SMS, purple, verify, number inside, and then update application and update number would have been well, this is where we're a little going away from the actual SDKs, because the update number would have been numbers API, and the application would have been applications API. Now we will put these in a Node-RED context all under management, because we are not explicitly using those APIs. We just use them to enable the other nodes to work. And these are, well, this is one example of a flow that you can build with our APIs. In the meantime, just so you know where we are at the moment, I opened up in code the Nextmo Node-RED package that is on, yeah, pull it from GitHub. actually won't log into the Vonage one. And on the other side, I just started Node-RED after installing it locally. So those instructions you could find on the Node-RED website. That is docs, getting started, and running locally. All I did here was installed it and then started it with Node-RED. So let's look at the code. So in the package JSON, I have listed all the nodes. Well, all the files, because for each node you have HTML code and JavaScript code. Now you don't need a separate JavaScript file and HTML file for each node, but you do need both JavaScript and HTML. For example, there are many nodes in the voice API package, but all of these nodes are defined by one JavaScript file and one HTML file, as opposed to two per each node. So initially, we had just files. So there was one Node-RED package, and everything would get imported in here, and you would only need to install Nextmode, Node-RED contrib Nextmode, that's the one. And it imports 29 nodes at the moment. Now what I've been trying to do is to take these groups, so the different colored ones except for the green, because that's voice and still goes together, and create different packages for them. All these nodes also, so yes, the different packages. And then I split it out for voice API, verify, SMS API, number inside. Management, currently we have apps and number. So this would be what I just showed you before with the update application and update number. And there are two authentication packages. So there's the basic auth, the SMS API, the verify API, number inside, use basic auth. And there is app auth, which would be in this case for the voice API. These also add nodes to Node-RED, except they don't show up in your palette. I'm just trying to see where that's, yeah. So category config, if you look in the HTML file, the auth nodes will have a category of config, as opposed to if we look in the SMS API, that will have a category of Vonage APIs. So that means that one with a category of Vonage APIs will show up on the left-hand side in the node palette. The way it says Nextmode here, it will say Vonage APIs, while the config nodes will show up in the right-hand side under configuration nodes. And as you can see, currently these are called Nextmode Basic and Nextmode Voice App. In the new version, that will be Vonage Basic, and I will double check for the application auth, possibly Vonage App auth. Yes, Vonage App auth. Now those only appear when you add them, to the flow. So for example, in case of a create call node, which is a voice node, I will need to select my credentials. Now, if I have a clean install, I will not have the option to pick one from the dropdown, and I will need to go through and edit. Well, I will need a new voice app, edit, and then I will create one in here. And once I click on create application, then it will show up under the config nodes. Now, coming back to the code, everything is nicely split out. Well, still needs to be tested, but at this point, you need to install every package separately, which is good so far for the APIs. The problem is you would need to manually install appauth and basic auth. Now, I tried to require these by the other packages, depending on which one needs which. Didn't work locally, but my colleague Sam pointed out that I could use GitHub and install from GitHub to sort of simulate how it would work once we put them up. So that's what we're starting with today. I have mostly split out everything, and I will take the different packages, put them on GitHub, require the kind of auth that they need, and then install them from GitHub and see how it looks like in my Node-RED editor, which is currently a fresh install. So I will close down the hosted version, and we are working with local. So if you ever install Node-RED yourself, this is what you're getting. Default nodes on the left-hand side, and then hamburger menu and manage palette. This is where you can click on install and search for anything you would like to add to the palette. But today, we are going to use the terminal to install the different packages to this one. So I'll start on my own GitHub, just to be sure. And as always, let's start with the SMS API. Repository name. Right, so that's going to be that. We are writing node. Usually, it's under MIT. And create repository. Good. Okay, so I'm going to create a new folder locally. This is my Node-RED running, so we're going to stop that. Possibly a new tab. So that's going to be the Vonage Node-RED. And now we're cleaning. Yep, that looks good. Right. So, why is that? I'm fairly certain. Okay. Permission denied. When everything else fails, GitHub Desktop. Right. So okay. So that seemed to work. Now what I realized is that in SMS API we need to require the auth. So I can continue with the SMS API because first we need to push the auth to GitHub and then require it from GitHub in the SMS package before pushing that one. So coming back to GitHub and repeating what I just did in here, except we're creating another repo for basic auth. So selecting basic auth this time, and I'll just go to the description as well. Okay, so using the same folder, And clone it. Yes, that looks good. Now, copying over the files. So next manager is what we currently have, and we're looking for basic auth. And for every package in Node-RED, you need a package JSON, JavaScript, and HTML. So those are the ones that we need. And now to find the Vonage Node-RED folder and the basic auth, and paste in there. Now that should look good. I'm just quickly having a look at the package JSON. Yep, everything looks good. So we are ready to push this one. And push origin. So now if we refresh this one, all those files are in there. And now I'm just grabbing the repo name. Okay, so we are in the Vonage Node-RED folder going into the SMS one. And here, we have to install I get a little confused with SMS and the auth and what I did and what I didn't. So let's see, what files do we have in here? That's what I thought. We haven't copied over the SMS code. So let's do that first. So this time SMS API and grabbing the SMS API, JS, HTML, and JSON, and putting those in the SMS API folder. And now, navigating in this same folder, we are going to install the basic auth from GitHub as a dependency, and we'll see how it appears here under dependencies. So that is in the terminal. We're in the, right place. And that is npm install. Oh, not that one though. Always catches me out. When you think the last thing you copied over and it's not anymore. Yeah, so that username slash repo name is what we're looking for. And Okay. And now we see that it appears under dependencies, which is good. So now we should be ready to push this back to GitHub and install it. So GitHub Desktop, looking for the Vonage Node-RED SMS API, yes, and that's added. And we push origin. Possibly not the best practice to keep pushing to main, but currently my GitHub, so shouldn't be too bad. And now I'm going to need another tab. And navigate to where my Node-RED is installed, and there manually install the SMS package from GitHub. So currently, I suppose I'm, yep, should be here. That's it, the Node-RED. So and here npm install. And now I have to grab not the basic auth, but the SMS. And if everything goes well, then we will see that both the SMS and the basic auth has installed right after restarting Node-RED, of course. So just type Node-RED and on port 1880, which I believe we have open. Yeah, just needs to refresh. And under Vonage APIs, we have one SMS node. And it indeed has credentials. So better way to see that. Now, I know that if something had gone wrong, then this whole credentials field wouldn't have appeared. But another way you can see that is by going to Manage Palette and see what is installed. So first, Node-RED SMS API with one node. And then there is the basic auth with one node type Vonage basic, which is a config node. So if you come to the configuration nodes, there will be none. But the moment I come and open up the SMS node, click on the edit button, put in an API key and an API secret, and click add, then one config node of type Vonage basic will appear in the sidebar. I do realize I have a halo, so let me do something about that. Not used to having sunlight. Right, so that looks all good. Should we test it as we go, or should we do that at the end? Let's add the rest of the nodes. And then do that. Actually, I'm going to quickly delete this one and add a config node with my actual credentials, for which I'm going to have you wait a second. Actually, I have a better solution than secret stuff. Here is this month's coupon code. So if you'd like 10 euros worth of Vonage credit, feel free to use that. I'm just going to my Vonage dashboard and grabbing API key and API secret and pasting it back into the SMS node. And here we go. So I now have added Vonage basic type node, which is a config node, this time around having actual credentials so that we can use that and see that it actually does work. I'll quickly fill in these fields to see a quick test. Control space toggles the sidebar. I'll just forget about that. That looks good. And command click to add the node. I just want an inject node in there and the debug after so that we can see what is happening and also to start off the flow. I'll select the complete message object just in case there are other properties attached to the message object. And we don't really care about what it starts with, so timestamp is good. Deploy, because as we know, if it's a red button in Node-RED, you want to press it. Switching over to the debug sidebar, and let's see. Now, it would have been nice to clear all the messages out, but there we have it. As usual, it never focuses. So I apologize for that, but you'll have to believe me. And here we have in the payload message count and the message that went out, number and a couple of details, including status 0, which means successful, and the amount of balance I have left in my account. Okay, so the tricky part when installing locally was that I could require the other package, so the basic auth package, and I could install the SMS package that would require the basic auth package and everything would work fine. But when trying to add another package that also required basic auth, Node-RED started warning me that the basic auth package has already been installed and it cannot be installed twice. So let's see how this works out, because that was the main reason for trying the GitHub way. So let's pick another API that uses basic auth. So we have SMS sorted, and we could go for either verify or number insight. Well, actually, we have time for both, so let's start with this one. Number insight. And that's the name we are going for. So just going back to GitHub and creating yet another repo. Does anyone else use an Apple Watch that is so slow to catch up, like my Node-RED message just came in? Description. Yeah, I'm gonna repurpose the one from the package Json as well, which in turn came from the developer portal. Might be a bit too long. Oh, I don't know. Almost there. Yeah, not so far. That's about right. Oh, these are public, so if you want to have a look at them real time, they are already there. So feel free to have a go. Number inside, good. Yeah, let's just desktop app all the way. Yep, that's the right folder. All looks good. So clone. Great. And actually, no, we have Finder open, so okay. So first, going back in the old package, that is number inside, and then in the Vonage folder, looking for number inside. Great. JSON, JavaScript, HTML file. Perfect. And pasting them over. Right. So next, I have to go into this folder using the terminal and install the basic auth from GitHub as a dependency. So actually, let me just open that up in a new window. So basic auth, great. And then wrapping that. And terminal. So, well, we can stop Node-RED because we're gonna need to restart it anyway. This is where we installed the package, and then this is the Vonage folder, right? So currently in SMS, and we want number inside, so and npm install basic auth. Okay, that looks good so far. Quick look at package.json. Yes, it added basic auth as a dependency, so we're good to go. We can push it back to GitHub. And for that, we're using GitHub Desktop. And this is going to be push origin. Good. And now grabbing this address. Come on. Anyway, I can never see whether I get the first letter or not. And now we're going back to the folder where Node-RED is installed. So that is here. I hope so. Yes, it is. And installing this time the number inside package, which in turn has the dependency of basic auth. That sounds about right. And let's see if we restart Node-RED. And refresh. Then indeed we have a number inside Node under Vonage APIs. And no warning, but we'll see once we open up manage build, and still no warning. It would warn under the package name if it was a duplicate. So just to see that this one is working as well, we can already select the config node that we created with the SMS one, which is what we wanted for these packages to communicate in between each other about the config nodes. So if you look at the Vonage basic type node that we created in the send SMS node by clicking here and doing new credentials, for which, by the way, you have the option to do in number insight as well. But you can also select any previous config nodes of the same type that you previously created. So I'll do just that. And number insight gives you, the number insight API gives you details about the phone number, that is in which country it is it roaming, which carrier is it with, depending on the country you are in. It will also give back the name of the person owning it. And there are three types of number insight. Basic is just really basic data. Standard is a little bit more. And then there is advanced, sync, and async. So the simple number insight advanced will give you the results synchronously, which might be time and resource consuming, or asynchronously, and then you have to provide a callback URL just to test out whether we've done a good job is enough to use the basic, and I'll use the same test number as always. Yeah, we can add another inject node. Don't really care about what's going in. We need a debug. And coming over to debug sidebar. So we can see it was successful. There are a couple of details and about the request ID status. And then this is the information. So the number in different formats, country code, and prefix, and also the country name. So all good so far. Next, I'm going to do the same thing for verify and have all APIs requiring basic auth in there. Right. So selecting verify, and let's see package JSON. We're going to give it that name. So back to GitHub and creating another repo. Apologies for that. And grabbing the description as well. Oh, too much again. There we go. Of course, for an hour I had the window closed and there was nothing going on the moment I opened it up. Wasn't expecting it, but I think the 3 weeks of summer in the UK have started. Okay, create repository. Okay, that's cloned. So now let's grab the files. Verify. Again, JavaScript, HTML, package JSON, and dropping them in the new one. Okay. And now installing it as a dependency. So going back to the terminal. Yeah, we might as well stop Node-RED. Oh. navigating into the right folder, that is 1 over, and then verify. And now grabbing basic auth again. So that's right. And let's just see package JSON. Yep, it has added it as dependency. So now we can push it back and install it. Push. Now, the letter. Coming back to the folder. Hi, hope that strategy. Yes, so not exactly adding them node by node, as you'll see with the verify one. The previous two were indeed node by node for number insight and SMS API, because those two products only have one node, but now we are adding verify, and that has 4. So we're adding them one package per product. So if you ever looked at our developer portal, then these are classified by product. So SMS, voice, video. Video is coming at some point, not yet, from a Node-RED point of view, and then verify number insight. So trying to keep these groupings. And the reason for splitting it up is because it started to get a little cluttered under that Maximo package. So if someone just wanted to use the number insight API, they would still need to install the whole Vonage Node-RED package. And that started to be a little too much. So we thought that we could split them up and have them separately, and then have one main node that requires all of the other ones. So if you want to install them all, you don't have to manually install every single package out there. But if you are interested in just one single product, for example, SMS, then you would install only, what was it called? Vonage. So Vonage Node-RED SMS or verify. It would install that package and the config nodes required by that package, nothing extra, because currently it's import everything and then we'll see what you're going to use. So this is what I'm working on right now. And so this is how my current branch looks like. Before we had, actually, I can open up this on GitHub because this is my branch and show the difference between main and what I have in here. But I've split out the code based on product. So we have one folder that is one package. So each folder is a package for each product, as opposed to previously, let me see, where is it? I'm going to put up a secrets screen just so I'm showing you what I want to show you. Yep, just a second, because our work GitHub is properly secured. And there's a lot of hoops until I get through it. Right, so this is the current Npm Node-RED. So if you try to install our package from the Node-RED library, then this is what you're going to get. And you have one package JSON that lists all the JavaScript files. Well, all the categories, I guess, because it's not exactly one node. And if you come under nodes, then these aren't in different packages. It's just collection of JavaScript and HTML file pairs. And that's why it results in you installing the package and having every single API show up, well, every single product show up, because there was no separation in between them. What do you think about that? How do you prefer it? Do you like everything importing at once, or having the freedom to pick and mix your APIs? So what did I do in the meantime? Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, we asked then the Node-RED Slack what people's take was on it, and the answer was, well, whichever you prefer. So I kind of like it, because whenever showing the package to people who haven't seen it before, the feedback was that it looks a little overwhelming. And in the spirit of using low-code tools for enabling more people to build things, I think it helps to have less things to overcrowd. Yes, we will still have the option to put all of them with one meta package. I was just really blocked on requiring other packages by these packages being required by meta packages. I was trying to do it locally and it didn't work, but I tried it with GitHub just for the sake of it, and it works. So that's what we're going with. Right. What did I do? Thanks for that question, though, and the feedback. Okay, so added the dependency. That's good. Did we push it? That we did, and then that means that the thing left to do is to install it. But not here. All right. And restarting Node-RED. I have more screens open than I would normally. Oh yeah. To be fair, I noticed him streaming on YouTube, and after that I yep. So if anyone wants to see more Node-RED, then Nick O'Leary has also a Twitch stream. So click over and see what he's been up to. He's usually streaming about developing Node-RED, so that might be interesting if you are enjoying seeing the behind the scenes as opposed to using the collection. So thank you for the shout out. Yeah, so I mentioned that we're not going node by node. For example, the verify package now added in, not 4, but 5. Actually, I added the search node later, so I always think of it as 4. And yeah, still good, still picks up on the other one. Number to verify. Let's run a quick one. So this is a, well, brand is, it's like when certain companies send you code via SMS and you have to put it into a website or some sort of form. And brand is the text that shows up before the code. So and workflow ID refers to what the verify API will do. So in case of the first one, I will receive one SMS. If I don't reply, well, not reply, but if I don't use the code to confirm in, I believe, 5 minutes, then it will call me and read the code out in a text-to-speech message. And if another, I believe, 5 minutes pass by, then it will call me again. So let's just go with that. Because normally when using this API, you would have a workflow set up for also confirming it or canceling it, which we do not have. So it's nice to have the 5 minutes. Deploy. Okay, so turns out this is too long. There's a reason why it's called brand, because while it is the text before your code, it does need to be shorter. So now it's good. And we're going to grab that request ID because we're going to need that to either reply or cancel the verification. Yes, it's valid for 5 minutes, so I'm not sure if that's going to focus in on it, especially if it's that. Yeah. So I have a code, and I'll have to either confirm or cancel. Let's see how a check code would look like. Normally, I would connect some sort of user interface to this. There is one tutorial, so if you're interested in it, on learn.vonage.com. I think that's... did I guess the command right? Yes. So that's the website. And you can see blog posts in there. And there is one on verify with the user interface. I actually quite like it. Okay, verify request ID. So this is the request ID that we see in the message.payload. And code, this is a code that came in the SMS. And that's 0672. So there is no other way to see this code except for having the hands up. And inject and debug. Deploy. And state is 0, which is success. It also says how much it cost me. And that has been confirmed. So I'm not sure exactly what happens if I try to search for it. I think if it's successfully confirmed, then it won't find it, or it will find it as successful. We'll see. Actually, I can connect it into the same payload. Okay, so it does find it with the status of success. And it will also have information about when it was submitted and finalized. Right, so verify looks good. And I think that concludes the packages that have basic auth. So we've done verify, we've done SMS, we've done number and site. Nodes, this is the old package, so I started taking things out of there. I will need to update each of these with the correct icons and possibly colors. But we're looking at functionality right now. So management API, well, application. So updating an application that requires the other kind of auth and the numbers. Okay. So this is interesting because this management package will require both basic auth, that is for the numbers, and the app auth, that in the current situation is for the voice API. We will also be using it for other APIs once they get added to Node-RED. Okay, so next step would be to add the application auth. And see if that works. To be fair, this is the part that is more likely to fall apart. So let's see how that goes. Going back to GitHub. Right. And again, grabbing the 3 files that need to be there for it to be a node or package. Looks good. And I don't think we need to change anything on this one. Right. And now let's add the voice API. So I'm going to leave this open. This is the basic auth. And then packages. So the voice API's structure is the most similar to what we had previously as a package, because it has multiple things like NCCO, that is the call control, object actions. So in a hosted version, these would be the dark green nodes previously. So the talk, stream, input, record, conversation, connect, and notify, these would be the call control object action nodes. And you can see them there. So talk, stream, input, and record. You get it by then. And voice API REST. So this will have the rest of the green nodes. So these would be the actual endpoints. Well, corresponding to the actual endpoints, like creating a call and different other things that you could add to your workflow. And then we have the webhooks bit, which now I realize that I was working on this one. So this is still kind of work in progress. Not that it doesn't work, but we were discussing updating it to make it even less complicated and somehow merge two of the nodes. But I think I'll just push it as it is now and carry on working on it later on. Return NCCO is as it needs to be. The voice webhook one was that we were thinking about merging with the get recording. Yeah, I don't think I'll have time for that today. Yeah, let's just test it with the auth as it is right now and go from there next time. Okay, so package JSON and the name of it. Okay, so cloning this one again. Now we'll have a bit more. That looks good. We'll need all of that. And add the git in here. And now navigating into this folder in the terminal to add the app auth as a dependency. So we can step Node-RED and change into the correct folder, which is going to be Vonage Node-RED, possibly something with voice. Yes. And Npm Install. Helps if you type in the right desktop. Right, we have the dependency added. There's also a lot more things in here. Building the package of the voice API is definitely the most complex of all the other ones that we have now available. So back to GitHub. This is voice API, files added. Actually, I could have checked package JSON in here as well. Not sure why I keep doing it in the terminal. And now grabbing the voice API. And installing it into the folder where we have Node-RED. Does it contain a package JSON file? If it does, okay, let's try that again. Yeah, got this slash. Yeah, thanks for catching that. Okay, and restarting Node-RED. Now we either got lucky or this is gonna crash. Okay, so voice nodes are in there. I'm not convinced by that color, but at least they are there. Let's quickly disable this flow. Might be able to even delete it because we won't be needing those for a while. So if I look in Manage Palette, it has app auth, which is good. And obviously we have voice API, so that's all good. Now let's see if it works. We need to add credentials because this is a different kind. Oh, I have a clean install of Node-RED, which means I'm going to need something to expose it to the internet. Well, not to place a call, but to receive any information about the call. Okay, so let's install ngrok. This is how you would normally install nodes. So in the install part, and then you would click through to see if it is indeed what you are looking for, which it is. Install. I can never remember, but I think after installing, you don't have to restart it, only after deleting something. And I should have an ngrok node. I do. I'm not going to log in. Current Node-RED port is good. Europe. And input type, that is input port if I'm wiring it up to something. This time I just want a button to start it, so nothing fancy. And a debug to show me the address. So deploy. And I'm going to need, this is going to be a little frustrating because every time we kill Node-RED, I'm gonna have to update that URL. That's all right. So let's start with adding a name. I really should delete all my applications. I would call it another Node-RED test, but I'm pretty sure I already have that. API key and secret from the dashboard. No, that's not my secret. And now I need the URL. /answer and /event. And now I create a new application. So in the meantime, if I look at config nodes, then a Vonage app auth type node would have appeared in there. So what are we trying to do with the create call node? Let's say it's going to be a phone endpoint. We are not using DTMF from. Now here's a kicker. If anyone develops for Node-RED, I would love input. This from field turns into a dropdown, except only after I hit deploy. So while I am now setting up this node, I will have to click done deploy and then come back for this to actually load in numbers, which I realize isn't exactly a pleasant experience, but I haven't found a workaround for that. So now it should come in. Unless I'm working on the wrong version. I'm pretty sure. So create call. From input. Yeah, this is the version that should load things in. So this should be working. I don't think it is. Let's read property credentials of no. Was that when I deployed? What might have been when I deployed? Funny thing is, this was working. I know, works on my machine, except the other one. That's not even a valid reason. Okay, I'll have to look at that one. Well, if everything else fails, I'm gonna have to manually grab a number that is from my dashboard under numbers, your numbers. So of course, it signed me out. So numbers, your numbers, and I want this one. Answer. Let's use node instead of giving an answer URL, so that will be message dependency, and I'll have to put a node in front of this one to say how I want my call flow to work. Yes, I've written a while ago something to automatically grab the numbers from your Vonage account and display them as a dropdown, which it did last week. So I'm at this point, I really don't know what I'm messing up. But I couldn't figure it out on first glance, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna figure it out now. And those are for machine detection, so it should be good. At this point, I just want to see if those errors came from deploying without having it configured or something else. So text. If you're testing, I suggest a lot of text. Yes, we are happy to hear Kimberly. Loop. Let's have it at 1. And the other things are not important at this point. Inject node to start it off. Debug to see what's happening. And an event webhook. I think it's post. And HTTP response gives 200 by default. So we'll leave it as it is. And debug. Let's see how that works. So it should be working. At least the API thinks it's working. So it clearly says that it started. And then it was canceled. So why would that be? Honestly, I don't see why this didn't work. So we'll do it again. Hi, Namaste Geek. Thanks so much for coming back. So about the project, we have previously had an XMO package, which if you currently search for Node-RED contrib nexmo, you will find, which looks a lot like this on the left side. So a bunch of nodes for our various APIs. And I am trying to refactor this and come up with one package per product. So for example, these 5 nodes that are for one of our APIs, those 5 would be grouped together, and you could just install those and not having to install the whole package. Also, will give you the option to have a meta package and use that to install all of them. And these nodes use 2 types of auth, basic auth and app auth. Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for the feedback, because I kind of started and waiting for the feedback in the process. Hopefully, people would appreciate it, at least less clutter. So there would be the 2 types of auth. And also, we are trying to do it in a way that each package requires the kind of auth that it uses, so that you don't have any extras, or so that you don't have to manually install the auth type. Well, the config nodes, which don't appear in the palette, but appear under config nodes once you create one. So Yes, I think so. I didn't totally get that. But yeah, the idea is to split it up so that people can pick and mix whatever they like. We are also going through a rebrand, so it's no longer Nexmo, but it is now Vonage APIs. And we've gone through the different packages, starting with SMS, Number Insights, Verify, and imported those, all three using basic auth, which works. And now we imported voice, which is all these blue nodes, which uses a different type of auth. And that is an application-based auth. So you create an application by giving API key, secret, name, and answer and event URLs, and you will get back a private key and application ID, which is all good, except we tried to run this flow that I quickly put together to test whether it works, and it doesn't. The problem is, I don't think it doesn't work because of what we've done, because it does start the call, and it says it's ringing. It just doesn't go through. So the from is unknown, which might be a problem. I don't know why that would be unknown. No, it's definitely not unknown because it picks up on it beforehand. There is a catch node in Node-RED that I never use, but it really is a catch-all, so I'm desperate. Let's see what it does. Also, let's see if I have reception, but I should. Right. So that is definitely not good because nothing is, oh, bad request. Okay, we can work with that. That doesn't make me much smarter. Yeah, deleted the from number. Of course I did. Okay, another phone number then. Okay, so started. It says ringing, but it definitely does not ring. And cancelled. And the catch-all didn't exactly help. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, that was my next idea, next and final idea, unfortunately. So Alex, while you're here, do you have any ideas why the from dropdown isn't working? Yeah, I don't think it's the phone network. So it did ring. Okay, duration 5 seconds. Did it say anything, or was it as soon as you answered, did it hang up instantly? Okay, so text to speech. That's good. I wonder why. Yeah, I apologize for that. It was a copy paste of hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there. Hopefully in the voice of Kimberly. At least that's what the doc node says. Yes. So, good news is auth node works. Voice mostly works. We still don't know why the dropdown doesn't work. Because now that the credentials went through, and it works. Is it one of those things where I rebranded it and called it something it couldn't find? Because I feel like that's one of those. Isn't it amazing when all text is white and you can barely see what is going on? So this is the HTML file responsible for the create holes editor, I guess. So these fields and forms and the from field that we're looking at now. So node input from. So get numbers. Let's see where that is. So it's making a get request. And I feel like that is not the correct URL. So let's see. Get number, I suppose that's the numbers API. So list the numbers you own. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint. This is Firefox, but thanks for the tip. So I'll click on native. Yeah, so 127 on GitHub. So I'm guessing that's gonna be in the code for, yeah. So voice API and '27. So that's the get numbers. It should be somewhere. Oh, why am I doing this to myself? Well, if you're up for it, I do have Chrome. Supposedly, if Alex is not around, otherwise I will be crucified. So let me just grab the localhost. Yeah. It's always fun when a low code hour turns into Chrome versus Firefox. Now, I will be honest, I have not used developer tools in Chrome because I don't use Chrome. So I don't even know how to bring that up. We'll take it as a homework. And Firefox, back to Firefox. Okay, so debugger tool. I will be happy to take input on this, especially from the person who wrote some of the debugger tools. No pressure. Yeah, that's what I thought. Console. Yeah, but that's a Vonage basic credential, which we are not even using. So click the tag that triggers get numbers. And this is the one. Yeah, that's a good point. No worries. Thing is, none of those errors make any sense in regards to what we're doing. Let's see the code. Right. So, get numbers. Wait, wasn't this get number? No, get numbers, at least. That's so node input creds. So wrong type of auth. Nope. Well, if it would be using the wrong type of auth, the call wouldn't have gone through. So that's sorted. Yeah, we can do that. So now so the funny thing about this is that we have installed the package from GitHub, so now it's probably not the best of ideas to keep pushing to GitHub and then getting it back. So okay, so we either fix it or we'll be back next time. So removing voice API locally, well, removing voice API from being required from GitHub, and we will be installing it locally. So that's good. Probably should have stopped this one. Did this help? And now installing it from local, so that will be okay. And we haven't restarted Node-RED. Waiting for missing types to be registered, and that's Vonage app auth. Now that's interesting. So I'm pretty sure I removed the voice. So node modules, and then installed back the voice API, which yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Except I was just looking in the wrong folder. But it does require app auth. So I think it's back to the problem we had before, that when both of them are local, or one of them are local. Doesn't get through, but I don't know why. Well, it's missing it, so what happens if I install it again? That's a nice catch. So let me close this one. Right. So app auth, package JSON, and it registers a node app auth. And in voice, it has Vonage app auth. So it looks like most things have. Okay, so I guess the easiest way is to call this Vonage app auth. But let me just quickly check how the basic works. So basic auth, and in package JSON it's Vonage basic. Okay, so that's what we're gonna change. App auth package JSON, and it's gonna be a Vonage app auth. What I don't understand is why does it work? That's interesting. Okay, so it's in voice API, correct. Let's see if there's any more app auth anywhere. JavaScript file, that is fine. Package name, that is also good. Should be good. So app auth. And I think that requires me to reinstall them again. In here, that is the Node-RED folder. Actually, it can install the voice API from there, which will in turn require auth, so that is good. Back to terminal. Let's see how this works. Flow step due to missing node types. Actually, let's install it back again. So Actually, it was 127, I think. Oh yeah, that was the get numbers. This would not represent good coding best practices. And now if I try installing it again. So no error this time around, at least none yet. Let's see. No, the ngrok node has stopped. So for me to use this, I will need to find this voice app in my Vonage dashboard and update the URL with whatever this gives me. It's just disconnected. So I have to press it again. No, this is the one. And let's see my applications. And this is the moment I'm going to regret not deleting all the test ones that I'm using. And at least it's last updated. So 1 of 4 pages should be the one. Or not. Well, this is not a real life situation for someone using the APIs. Now you can see why I prefer to just create a new one as opposed to finding one. And that's what we're going to do. So The URLs are going to be /answer and event, most importantly, so that we see what is happening. And then I'm grabbing API key and secret. Good. And so that looks like it did go through. Okay, now it's working. So
Hello there, hello there.
so that's right. Good. Let's see a console. Why can't I double click? That's funny. Still says that these credentials is undefined. And now we have to. So there's a function called. Where did I put that? Right. So I think we'll leave it as it is for now. A path works, and I'll have to look at the code for the voice API, which was expected, but at least the simple ones are sorted. So thank you so much for tuning in today and for all the help. Thanks so much, everyone in the chat. And I will see you in 2 weeks' time. There is no one online that we could raid at the moment. So have a good rest of your day, everyone, and hopefully see you soon. Thanks again.